What's up, YouTube? It's Brett Dallas, and I have decided to make a video on Kratom, the consummate Kratom video that represents the culmination of probably 6 years of experience either using, studying, or working in the industry related to Kratom. So in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with it, both as a casual user of Kratom and as someone who worked in the industry. So I'm making this video because there is an awful lot of half-truths and just bad information out there about Kratom. People seem to think that they have the skinny on it. They know what it's all about, and they can point to some resource on some website somewhere, and that's fine and well. But where you're getting your information matters. And I have a bit of a pedigree on this topic. I worked in the industry for about 2.5 years. I was the senior content manager for a very large Kratom seller, distributor, manufacturer, whatever you want to call it. This is a company that is still in business. I'm not going to name the name, but I worked in the Kratom industry as a paid professional, making very good money, developing content that was specific to Kratom. All strains of Kratom, all sources of Kratom. And so I have quite a bit of authority on this topic. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, I've also been a Kratom user going back about 5 or 6 years as well. I used to make videos about Kratom on a pretty regular basis on my prior channel, but I felt like it was time, now that Kratom has really dug its hooks into American culture and it's much more of an informal topic now, and it's something that's kind of accepted as something that you can either use or take, for a variety of reasons. Maybe if you want to stay awake, or maybe if you want to relax at the end of the day. And people just don't seem to know what is really at stake here with this substance, with this drug. And it is a drug, make no mistake. Currently, Kratom, Mitragynous speciosa, the plant that is imported from Southeast Asia, is an unscheduled substance in the United States. You can buy it from head shops, convenience stores, gas stations. It's everywhere. And there are now, more recently, derivatives of it that contain the extracted 7-hydroxymetragynine, which is the most powerful plant-derived opioid on the planet, save only opium itself. If you think I'm kidding about this, go do some research and look at the potency of 7-hydroxymetragynine, which is one of the many alkaloids that is found in the Kratom plant. And you will find this stuff is seriously powerful. And the derivative drugs that are being pushed and sold in retail locations now that contain 7-hydroxymetragynine are absolutely destroying people's lives. Absolutely, without a doubt. The wave of people who are abusing this and whose lives are being seriously affected by it is growing taller and taller, and it will crash around you if you do not know what you're doing. And if you think that this stuff is benign, I'm here to tell you it's not. This is very dangerous stuff, and you need to be very careful messing with it. Now, I want to be clear on something. There are people out there who will say, and I'm sure maybe 1 or 2 of them will make their way into this video and comment, that Kratom is a lifesaver. It is an herb with angel wings, and it has saved people from the despair of pain and suffering and sleepless nights and recovery from car accidents and disease, because it replaces the opiates that they may not be able to get from their doctors for whatever reason, or on the street or whatever. So in that way, Kratom absolutely can slide in as a surrogate for something like a hydrocodone or an oxycodone or even a morphine. And in that way, it can help people. I want to be clear about that. Kratom has absolutely helped many people. But for every success story or raving review that I've read or heard about Kratom helping someone, there are at least 10 or more stories about people whose lives have been seriously and negatively affected by Kratom. They've become addicted to the substance, and they've found themselves taking upwards of 10 to 15 grams a day just to maintain an even keel. So how does this happen? How do you go from like mixing a gram or two of this crushed leaf into your coffee and enjoying that as a pick-me-up in the morning? How do you go from that to dumping 10 to 15 to 20 grams of this stuff into your smoothie or water or whatever and gulping it down throughout the day just so that you can maintain and keep going without getting withdrawals? Well, the answer is very simple, and it's been proven in the field of pharmacology umpteen times. And it basically has to do with opiate receptor downregulation and upregulation. See, when you take an opioid like Kratom, and this goes for all opioids, morphine, hydrocodone, all the rest of them. When you take them on a regular basis, what happens is the receptor sites in your central nervous system begin to downregulate. What that means is the sites onto which the neurotransmitter is, or the opioid is affecting, they begin to reduce in size and in number. What that means is the amount of the drug you're taking, you need more and more of it to get the same effect. This downregulation effect is why 1 gram suddenly doesn't do what it did last week, and you need to take 2. And then before you know it, you've downregulated so far that the effect you initially had on 1 gram, you need 6 grams, 7 grams, 10 grams to get. And you've become so downregulated that if you stop taking Kratom, then all of a sudden your central nervous system is going to throw a fit. You're going to have withdrawals. You're going to have shakes. You're going to lose sleep. You're going to get cramps. You're going to get nausea, all kinds of brain fog. The list of symptoms just goes on and on and on. And upregulating from that state takes a fairly long time. I know it because I went through it. And I've been contacted by people who've gone through it as well. And it is a absolutely terrifying and horrific thing to go through. And it takes more than a week. It takes more than 30 days. In many cases, you don't upregulate from consistent Kratom use over a few weeks or more for at least a couple of months until you're back to baseline. So that's just a little bit about the biochemical basis for what Kratom can do to you. And I'm making this video as kind of a precaution for people who don't know what this stuff is, or maybe have been using it casually and are finding themselves in this situation where they're not sure if they're addicted to this stuff. They may be, but what's behind this, and what should they do about it? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a pharmacologist. I don't have any pedigree in either disciplines. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Just know that if you're getting into Kratom or Mitragyna speciosa, know that this is not just a benign, harmless plant. It's not. It contains a partial mu opioid receptor agonist. Actually, let me repeat that. It contains 2 partial mu opioid receptor agonists. One of them is mitragynine. I have to keep this straight. And the other one, which is about 40 times more powerful, is 7-hydroxymitragynine. The one that I mentioned earlier is being distilled and extracted into these pills that you can get in convenience stores. So when you take Kratom, you're ingesting both of those. And these Kratom suppliers out there, one of which I worked for, like I said, for a couple of years and made good money studying this stuff and developing content around it. I'm not going to say the name of this company, but I was very close to the back-end operations of this massive multi-million-dollar Kratom operation. And I saw where it was coming from, how it was tested, how it was produced, the way it was packaged, the way that the extracts were made and distributed. And I saw very quickly how much profit is in this business, and it is absolutely massive. And so when you read literature from, let's just say, the American Kratom Association, or on the help pages or the about Kratom pages on these different Kratom manufacturer websites, just know that there is an agenda at play here, and you are being fed information that is meant to make you feel like the Kratom that you're considering purchasing is not going to harm you, and rather it's going to, quote unquote, enhance your life. I'm here to tell you that while that may be true, it may enhance your life initially, there's a very dangerous side to this, and you need to be aware of what you're dealing with. It could be very dangerous, and there absolutely is a significant risk profile associated with Kratom. So I'm just going to leave it at that. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm happy to share my experience and what I've learned about this substance. It's only grown in popularity. It's not just this kind of obscure herb that people talk about here and there. It really has penetrated American culture to the point now where it's seen as both a party drug as well as a recovery substance for people, a sleep aid, also kind of an in situ opioid for people who are trying to get off of harder drugs. It has its place in all the above. I don't want to make it sound like there's absolutely nothing this drug can do for you when used responsibly, but it is not this harmless thing that you can just play with and expect to have nothing but a good time with. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Every now and again, I'll make a video on a topic that I know a fair amount about. And I hope it reaches someone, and I hope it helps someone. So that's the whole point of me making this video. Thanks for watching. Take care, you guys. I'll see you in the next one.